Hi everyone, welcome back to Learn Turkish the Easy Way channel. I had a kind of a small problem like 6 minutes ago. I had to start at actual 8 p.m. So there was a small problem. I had to restart my computer. So again, welcome back. Today is our grammar class day, live grammar lesson day, and today we'll be discussing the topic of verb to have. Okay, how we express I have, you have, he, she has, and so on in Turkish language. Now, this is one of the most loaded classes you may have. This is one of the most important classes you may have because of the extensive use of this verb in daily language. I mean, we say I have, you have, they have, right? Or they had, they will have. This kind of things on the daily basis very frequently, and therefore it's first of all important because of that, and second, the very simple reason it is one of the most important classes is that Turkish language doesn't have the verb to have specifically per se. Okay, same what is very similar to English. Hi, hi Aziza, alaikum salam. What we have in English as to have, we don't have that kind of a verb in Turkish language. Okay, we have a different structure to mean the possession. So let's look and see how we do this. This is probably a very long class. It will be around at least 30-40 minutes, I guess, especially probably if you have questions. So bear with me. It is one of the most important classes. So let's learn this one. And I'm sure if you learn this one, this kind of a structure, the verb to have structure in Turkish language, you will already have very much freedom in terms of saying so many common expressions in daily language. Okay, so let's start with our grammar. Now, how do we construct a verb to have? Again, as I said, we don't have a specific verb for this. Okay, in Turkish language, we don't have a verb to have. Instead, we use a possessive structure together with specific words var and yok, okay, which we'll see in a while. So, but before we can kind of talk about have specifically, we have to understand what this possessive structure is all about. Okay, so let's first look and see what the possessive structure is all about. Now, possessive structure is about what we say in English, my car, okay, your pen. This is possessive structure. So first we have to understand in Turkish how to make this possessive structure, because in order to say have, I have, you have, she has, and so on, you first have to know this possessive structure, because everything is based on this. Okay, everything is based on this, and therefore we have first to learn this one. So how do we make possessive structure in Turkish language? How do you say my pen or my house, your pen, your arm, your head, whatever? So it's very simple. You have a rule here. The possessive structure is made of what? Two things. First, the possessive adjective, right? The possessive adjective, which is what? My, your, his. These are possessive adjectives. And second, you have to add the noun plus the personal ending. Okay, that's the second part. Noun plus the personal ending. So if you say my car, possessive adjective here is my, and the second part is the noun part. Okay, car is the noun part. But of course, in Turkish we have to add this personal ending to the word, to the noun. Okay, so here you see, as always, we have 6 possessive adjectives here: benim, senin, onun, bizim, sizin, and onların. And everything that you add as a personal ending depends on this. Okay, all the personal endings that you have here, right, attached to the nouns, are all based on this possessive adjectives. And I put this in parentheses because in Turkish language you can easily omit. You can easily omit the first part, the possessive adjective. Why? Because that possessive adjective is already implied in the personal ending. Okay, so you see, for example, benim arabam. Here, m is equivalent to benim. So even if you just say arabam, okay, I will understand it is your car. You say it's my car. Okay, so benim arabam is equivalent with just arabam. Okay, you can easily omit benim here. It is omittable because it's already implied in the personal ending. Similarly, you can omit senin because araban, the last n here, letter n here, already implies senin. Okay, so and that goes in a similar way for other pronouns, right? Possessive adjectives, same. So how do we attach this? So we have already possessive adjectives on the as the first part. That's not changing. It's stable. It's fixed, right? Benim, senin, onun, they are fixed. What is changing is the personal endings. And how do you add them? So you basically have what? Which possibilities you have? You have either for benim you have im, or just letter m if the noun ends in a vowel. Okay. For senin, you have in here, right? In, un, or just n if the noun ends in a vowel. For onun, third person singular, we have s, si, su, su, right? Of course, you add s only if the noun ends in a vowel, okay? Other than that, you will just add ı, i, u, ü, okay? And again, for example, see the example here, arabası, onun arabası, right? Because araba ends in a vowel, you add what? S here. Not ı, but s. So for third person singular, it is s, si, su, su, or just ı, i, u, ü, okay, without s, depending, of course, on the last vowel, the last letter, sorry. For bizim, it is ımız, okay, ımız, imiz, umuz, ümüz, and again, it is either mız, miz, muz, müz, depending on whether the noun ends in a vowel or a consonant. And araba, for example, here it ends in a vowel, therefore we just add mız, not ımız, but mız. In other parts, for example, okulumuz, right here, you see, okulumuz, evimiz, gözümüz, and saçımız, right? All of this have vowel together. Umuz, imiz, ümüz, because the last letter on is consonant. For sizin, it will be arabanız, right? Okulunuz, we have basically ınız, iniz, unuz, ünüz, or just nız, niz, nuz, nüz. And last, for onların, we have what? Arabası, okulu, basically sı, si, su, su, same with what? With the first, you see here, with the first person singular, it is same for onun and onların. Alternatively, you can say onların arabaları, but that has also different meaning. Why? Because, for example, you can say onların arabası or arabaları, okay? Or you can say onların okulu or okulları. But the point here is that all of this here that you see here, arabam, right, okulum, evim, gözün, saçın, they all imply only one singular. It means a car, okay? My car, my school, my house, my eye, my hair, or your hair, your school, and so on. So we talk about here right now about the singular. So when you say their house, their singular house, okay, not their multiple houses, for this onların, it's the same s as it is in the first singular person, okay? So don't confuse. This, if you talk about only one singular car, house of him or his or of them, then they are the same. Okay, so onun arabası or onların arabası. They are same in terms of endings, but of course if you want to talk about multiple cars of mine, of yours, of his, of ours, then you have completely change everything and you have to talk about not araba, but arabalar now, right? Benim arabalarım, senin arabaların, onun arabaları, and so on and so on. So currently, this is what you see on the screen right now is for the singular, okay? For the singular noun only. And of course you can make it plural too, and then you will just adjust the same endings that you see on the right in red, okay? Same endings depending on the vowel harmony and depending on whether it ends in vowel or consonant. Okay, so this is basically the possessive structure, right? How we say my car, your house, I don't know, our pen, and so on. Okay, so currently you should be, by now, you should know how to construct possessive structure, okay? If you want to say, for example, his flower, okay, how will you say? Onun çiçeği, right? Onun çiçeği, for example. Or if you want to say our mother, right? Bizim annemiz. You see, for example, here bizim, and because anne ends in a vowel, it will be annemiz, right? This one. You see, I highlight here bizim annemiz, right? You just add miss, that's it. Bizim annemiz. If you want to say our mother, for example, right? Let me just write it here. Our mother, bizim annemiz, okay? Or you can say your father, because your meaning singular, your father, okay? Senin baban. You see, here mis and here it's n, because here we only have baba ends in vowel. Sorry, vowel, yes. My dog, okay, my dog, benim köpeğim, okay, köpek, and of course we transform k to yumuşak g because of the kind of transformation. So benim köpeğim, you see, köpek ends in consonant, you just add im, nothing else. Now, how do you decide whether it's im, remember, we always had a rule, right? For that rule, it's very simple. You just have what? If the last vowel in the word, in the noun, is a or it all goes with s, ımız, and so on. Okay. If the last vowel is e or e, we go with this e only. Okay. So you will choose e structure. If the last vowel in the noun is o or u, you will go with only. Okay, it will be always everywhere u, un, su, umus, unun, and so on. At last, if the last vowel in the noun is ö or ü, then all your endings, possessive endings, will be un, su, umuz, and so on and so on. Okay, so this one, basically this one. So that's basically the rule how you choose whether or im and so on. I hope it is clear for the possessive structure right now, right? So you can expand this as much as you like. You can say your flower, whatever, right? So this is basically it. Now, why do we need this? Because when you want to say I have, you have to use this possessive structure and then add something else. Okay. So what do we do with the something else? How we do that? Have structure have. Now let's go for affirmative. If you want to say I have, right, affirmative, you add that possessive structure and say just var, okay? For example, if you, we already have examples, but this is basically the rule. For negative, you say that possessive structure plus yok, and that's it. For interrogative, you say possessive structure plus var mı, and you see because it's always var, it is always mı. It's fixed, okay? You don't have any other alternatives. It's just var mı. And for the negative interrogative, it is possessive structure plus yok mu, okay? Which means don't you have or don't I have and so on. So let's look at these examples. This is just the rule for you, okay? Don't forget. This is just the rule how we make have, how we use or construct the structure to have. Let's look at the examples now. What is the example for affirmative? For example, benim arabam var, or you can just say arabam var, okay? This means I have a car. So you here have what? The possessive structure, right? Plus var. Benim arabam var or arabam var, right? For example, if your friend tells you, let's go by bus, you can say arabam var, right? I do have a car. I have a car. So arabam var. Benim arabam var. So you see, we have possessive structure, first part, and second just var. Senin kalemin var. You have a pen, right? Senin kalemin var. You have a pen. So senin, whatever you see in red is have structure, okay? Benim var. You see this three things. Benim var means I have. Senin var means you have. And then you have a noun which is kalem, right? Senin kalemin var. You have a pen. Onun parası var. He, she has money. Okay. Bizim evimiz var. We have a house. Sizin atınız var. You have a horse and onların bahçesi var. They have a garden. Now, of course, you have this article A is already implied in Turkish language, but you can also, of course, add separately article A, right? You can say benim bir arabam var, senin bir kalemin var to mean article A. But usually in Turkish, you don't have to add this bir specifically to mean A, article A. Okay, if you want really to specify, to emphasize it, then you can just add that article bir, right? A separately. But other than that, if you say benim arabam var or arabam var, it already means a car. Okay, I have a car. Senin kalemin var, it already means you have a pen. Okay, a pen. So this is basically affirmative. How you make positive? I have, you have, he has, we have, you have, and they have. Okay. So again, as a rule, you have first structure part. First part is possessive structure, and then you just add var. Okay, var, var. You see everywhere it's only var for affirmative. Let's look at the negative now. Examples for negative. What about the negative? Negative, it is you just the same thing, right? Plus yok. Just yok. Benim arabam yok. I don't have a car. Senin kalemin yok. Right? You don't have a pen. Onun parası yok. He, she doesn't have money. Bizim evimiz yok. We don't have a house. Sizin atınız yok. You don't have a horse, right? It might be plural or it might be just formal language you, right? Formal you. And last, onların bahçesi yok. They don't have a garden. Okay, that's very simple. So yok is basically you have the structure plus yok is I don't have, you don't have, and so on. What about the interrogative? For interrogative, it is var mı. Everywhere you add var mı, okay? So you have possessive structure plus var mı. So benim arabam var mı? Do I have a car? Senin kalemin var mı? Do you have a pen? Onun parası var mı? Does he, she have money? Okay. Actually, I had to make this red for you, but anyway. So, do I have, right? Do you have? Let me just very quickly do. Does she have? Do we have? Do you have? And do they have? These all should be all red. So, basically, benim arabam var mı? Do I have a car? Senin kalemin var mı? Do you have a pen? Right? Onun parası var mı? Does he, she have money? Then you have bizim evimiz var mı? Do we have a house? Sizin atınız var mı? Do you have a horse? And onların bahçesi var mı? Do they have a garden? Okay, that's interrogative. You just add var mı. That's it. So possessive structure plus var mı. Okay, you see var mı, and so on. And last, negative interrogative. How do we make negative interrogative? Benim arabam yok mu? You just add the possessive structure plus yok mu. Okay, so here arabam yok mu? By the way, again you can omit this, right? Arabam yok mu? Don't I have a car? Senin kalemin yok mu? Or just kalemin yok mu? Don't you have a pen? Onun parası yok mu? Doesn't she have money? Okay, onun parası yok mu? Bizim evimiz yok mu? Don't we have a house? Then you have sizin atınız yok mu? Don't you have a horse? And last, onların bahçesi yok mu? Don't they have a garden? Okay, so it should be very straightforward actually. So basically, why did we explain all this first kind of at the beginning, this possessive structure? You see, because everything is based on the possessive structure, and then you add what? This var, yok, var mı, and yok mu. That's why at the beginning I had to explain you first this possessive structure, how we make possession. Okay, my car. So it basically means what? When you say, for example, benim arabam var, it means my car. Var means what? Var means exists, right? It means basically my car exists. The meaning here is that I have a car, right? So if my car exists, it means I have a car. That's kind of a ridiculous, funny, but yes, that's basically what it means, okay? That is how we say I have. If you say Benim arabam var, it means my car exists. But figuratively it means I have a car. Senin kalemin var means your your pen exists. So you have a pen. And so on and so on. Okay, and yok means doesn't exist. So if you want the negative one, it means doesn't exist. Okay, it's not there. It's not there. And by the way, you have to remember that. Remember, we had to, when we were constructing there is, there are, right? It was the same. Var yok. There is a pen on the table. Masada kalem var. That's how we were saying there is or there isn't, right? But here it's the same var yok. It's the same words. But here we have to add the possessive. The only difference is possessive structure that makes the meaning to have. Now, apart from this, let's have this kind of a bit more expanded sentences as examples. Okay, so here for example, güzel evin var. You have a beautiful house. Okay, senin. You see, I already omitted what? I already omitted the possessive adjectives senin here because it's already implied from in here. Güzel evin var. You have a beautiful house. Right? Hiç paramız yok. Or bizim hiç paramız yok. We don't have money at all. So I expanded the sentence. I omitted bizim here deliberately, and that already means we don't have money at all. Hiç paramız yok. Yarın dersin var mı? Yarın senin dersin var mı, right? It is you here. Do you have a class? Therefore, I just omit here senin, right? Yarın senin dersin var mı? Or just yarın dersin var mı? Do you have a class tomorrow? And last example here. Bugün toplantın yok mu? That's negative interrogative. Bugün senin toplantın yok mu? Which means basically what? Don't you have a meeting today? I omitted here again senin. Bugün toplantın yok mu? Don't you have a meeting today? These are examples. Now I have a couple of notes. The first note is, again, you can always omit possessive adjectives my, your, his, okay, in the possessive structure to mean. Okay, so here you see güzel evin var mı? I already omitted what? Senin, right? Senin güzel evin var mı? So I omitted this one deliberately because it's already implied from evin. You see here. Therefore, you can always omit this my, your in Turkish language, but you can also specify it if you like, if you want to emphasize it that it's my, right? Senin güzel evin var. Onun yok. Senin var. So basically, if you want to specify to emphasize, you can add those my, your, his. The second note is you can make the possessed plural too, okay? For example, in all examples above, we used what? Singular, right? Arabam var, arkadaşım yok, and so on. And therefore, you can make it the same. You can make it plural too. Arabalarım var. I have cars. Not car. I have a car. But cars. I have cars. Arabalarım var. Arkadaşlarım yok. I don't have friends. Okay? So it's the same thing, but you make plural now. So you make the noun plural now, and everything else is the same. You just use the possessive structure and then add var, yok, etc., etc. Okay? For example, you can say evlerimiz yok. Okay? We don't have houses. We don't have houses. You see? Evler is plural here, evler. And you just add imiz. It is possessive structure, right? İmiz yok. We don't have houses. Bizim evlerimiz yok. Evlerimiz yok. That's it. Okay? Or you can say onun arkadaşları yok. He doesn't have or she doesn't have friends. Okay? Arkadaşları yok. He, she doesn't have friends. Okay? Onun arkadaşları yok. Just a second. Yeah. Onun arkadaşları yok. So you see arkadaşlar here is plural. Arkadaşlar. And onun, you see, we just add I. It's onun means he, she, right? Her, his. So onun arkadaşları yok. Or you can just omit this and say arkadaşları yok. He, she doesn't have friends. Okay? And the last note, which is very important note by the way, is let me just delete this one. whatever you see above, right, was for the present tense. So here, all these examples, right, negative, interrogative, all things here that you have var, yok, varmı, yok mu, right? All of them are what? They are all for present tense. This is also for present tense. You see, it's all present tense. You have, we don't have, do you have, don't you have. It's all present tense. For all other tenses, you have to adjust accordingly. For example, for past tense, here, you will use vardı, yoktu, okay, var mıydı, yok muydu. For example, you can say, I had money yesterday, right? Look at this example. For example, let me just go here for past tense. Dün param vardı. Okay. Dün param vardı. I had money yesterday. Or yesterday I had money. I had money yesterday. Okay. So you see, var became vardı. And the same, benim param, right? Dün benim param vardı. Dün param vardı. It's again the possessive structure plus var plus the past tense. So past tense becomes vardı, yoktu, or dün param yoktu. I didn't have money yesterday. Okay, if you say I didn't have money, that will be dün param yoktu. Okay, dün param yoktu, for example. Yoktu, I didn't have, right? I didn't have money yesterday. So param vardı, yoktu. You see, you adjust based on the tense. And by the way, because I assume many of you already have seen my classes on the past tense, so I just skip it very shortly, not to kind of bore you here, okay? For the reported past tense, it is varmış, yokmuş, var mıymış, yok muymuş. Okay, that's how you basically add it. For the reported past tense, for example, you can say onun ailesi varmış. Okay, varmış. He reportedly had family. Okay, varmış. Okay, so or reportedly have had kind of a he, she. Reportedly, okay, let's say reportedly had family. Ailesi varmış. Aile here is family. Ailesi is possessive structure, right? Onun ailesi. And varmış is reported past tense. Remember, reported past tense was also for the cases when you learn something new, right? You learn something afterwards. For example, you can say parası yokmuş. Parası yokmuş. Okay, parası yokmuş. He didn't have money. I learned it later that he didn't have money. Okay. Parası yokmuş. Onun parası yokmuş. Basically, that's what it means. For future tense, now it becomes nastier. We don't have var. We use the verb to be. Okay. And same for the present continuous tense. Here you see, for future tense and present continuous tense, we use oluyor, olacak. So that's basically how we transform for the future tense. You can say yarın benim param olacak, right? Tomorrow I will have money. Let's use it for the future tense example here, right? Yarın param olacak, which means what? Tomorrow I will have money. Yarın param olacak. So var becomes olmak here, to verb to be. Okay, olmak. So existence of var, yok as an existence becomes verb to be here. Yarın param olacak. Tomorrow I will have money. Okay. Or you can say olmayacak. Yarın param olmayacak. Tomorrow I will not have money. Okay. Yarın param olmayacak. Tomorrow I will not have money. Yarın param olmayacak. So you see, we have the same yarın benim param, right? It's the same possessive structure here. Param, benim param. Then you add olacak or olmayacak, olacak mı, olmayacak mı. That's the same. And the last one is present continuous, of course. This is a very rare use, kind of very rarely used, but still you can still use it. Hiç param olmuyor, for example. You can say hiç param olmuyor. I'm never having money. Okay, something like that. It's not kind of a very closest meaning, but that's something you can translate as the closest probably. For example, hiç param olmuyor. Okay. Hiç param olmuyor. Okay, which means I'm not having money at all. Okay, so don't consider it as the best translation, but that's what it is. Okay, hiç param olmuyor. I'm not having money at all. So you see the possessive structure, and then instead of var, we have verb to be used in the present continuous tense. Olmuyor, and of course it's negative, right? Oluyor, olmuyor. And that's it basically. Okay, so these were the three notes. Three notes. Yes, three notes I had for this structure. But basically, don't forget, it is all about what? The possessive structure plus this. All about this one. Okay, this rule. Affirmative structure. If you want to say I have, you have, she has, you basically have to add possessive structure plus var. Okay. If you want to say I don't have, you don't have, she doesn't have, you use possessive structure plus yok. It's all about the present tense, okay? Present tense. So interrogative, possessive structure plus var mı, and the negative interrogative, possessive structure plus yok mu. That's how you say have, I have, you have, she has, she doesn't have in the present tense in Turkish language. And that's it for today. I hope you got, it's very clear. I hope it's kind of useful because this is something we use on a daily basis frequently, very frequently, okay? Every day. Every day you say, I have, you don't have, she didn't have, she will not have, and so on, right? So that's basically important to learn. I hope you enjoyed the class. If you have any question, you can leave them under this video. And I really appreciate subscription to the channel or any likes to the video if you really liked the video. Thank you to Jade for participating, for joining. Really happy to see people joining from different parts of the world. Yeah, but I think you probably have to watch this video multiple times to really grasp the whole idea. I can also add examples below the video if you like. Just let me know in the comments. So I hope to see you in our next lessons. Have a nice day. Enjoy the evening. Bye bye. Görüşmek üzere arkadaşlar. Bye bye.